Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Nicole, and this is DDsFlosstube number 23. Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you have just come across our channel, we are a multi-craft channel, and today we are talking a little bit about cross stitch, a little bit of life stuff thrown in, things that I may have purchased, or things that I've come across on the internet for cross stitching and stuff like that. Just basically documenting my journey into the world of cross stitching, because I've only been stitching for a little while. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. I really do appreciate you being here. And if you are new or a returning subscriber, don't forget to leave us a comment down below if you've got any questions about what I'm doing or where to find anything. Just leave us a comment down below and I'll get back to you. I do try to put all the links of where I've got everything that I've either purchased or what I'm working on, so it makes it nice and easy for you as well. All right, so this week is a fabulous week, if I don't say so myself. School went back yesterday, so the children are all out of the house. I finally got a day to myself for the first time in 6 weeks, so that was pretty exciting. I didn't do much. I filmed a tutorial which has gone up today, prior to this video, yesterday. So basically, yeah, I got that done. That took a little while. I kept getting interrupted. I finally cut something together, so hopefully you'll enjoy that tutorial. And yeah, so I sort of had a bit of a relaxing day. I was going to get stuck into the housework and I decided against that. I just thought, I'm just going to take a day for myself. So I did the filming in the morning, and then I took the rest of the day, watched a little bit of TV, had a little bit of lunch around 1:30, and I didn't have to share it with anybody, so that was nice as well. Kids had a fabulous day at school. Savannah was pretty excited. She's gone into year 10 this year, and Neroli is in year 8, and she obviously had a very exhausting day because by 3:40 she was asleep on the couch. She was going to watch a little bit of Pretty Little Liars. She's just got into that season 2 of that, I think. She's been binge watching it over the holidays, and yeah, she got about 2 minutes into it and fell asleep with the computer on lap. So she obviously had a big day at school as well. Savannah's excited and nervous at the same time. She's gone into some extension classes this year, so she's nervous about how well she's going to do, because she likes to do well at her schoolwork, but hopefully I have prepared her for that, and I just told her just try her best. That's all she can do. So yeah, so she's nervous and excited at the same time. Mia, well, she's been back at daycare for a couple of weeks now, and she's just loving it. So yeah, she wasn't too happy yesterday afternoon. She had to go and get her 4-year-old immunisation, so she wasn't too impressed with me. I was the bad guy that took her there. So yeah, but anyway, she's fine today and back at daycare, which is really good. So yeah, so other than that, not a lot has been happening, although I have had a massive stitchy week. So we're going to start first off with our finish. This is something that I've worked on over the last couple of weeks to get done. I've used it for a couple of homework prompts, and it only had a little bit to go, so I finished this. I think I finished this on Monday night. Yeah, Monday night. I put the last 319 stitches into this. So this year, for those that are new, I've never really counted stitches. I've only been stitching since May last year. And I decided that I was going to do it, and I bought my first kit in May last year, which I received about 2 weeks later. And so there's lots and lots of things that I've come across on a multitude of different Flosstube channels. So like, you know, I think the first one I came across was Stitching with Housewives, or maybe Fat Quarter Shop was the first one that I come across. So yeah, it would have been Fat Quarter Shop that I come across, because I subscribed to their quilting channel. It came up on their quilting channel, and I sort of watched it off and on. And then I discovered Priscilla and Chelsea over at Stitching with Housewives, and then it's just snowballed from there. And I have my favourites, so like Carla Being Crafty, Stitchcraft with George, Calm Creations, and there's a whole lot more that I have been discovered. Country Stitches is another one. That I really like watching them because they are varied in what they do. So this one I came across off Priscilla and Chelsea, was the first time that I've seen it. It's Farmhouse Christmas, and this is Grandma's quilt because of course I'm a quilter, I had to start with that. But I got this finished this week, so now that's ready to be turned into an ornament. Now I have finished quite a few this month. This is a year that I want to get a lot of finishes done, so some of the projects that I'm finishing up now were almost complete. So obviously as I get through some of these smaller ones, it will you know, I will have bigger projects and whatnot. But with being in School of Magical Stitches and Literature, I'm getting a lot of stitches in, so it is making a huge difference. But how cute is that? So I didn't use the colourful colours. I actually swapped a lot of these out for Weeks Dye Works. I will put a list of what I swapped this out for. I just like these colours a little bit better, although I'm not real happy with the fabric that I chose, which is an 18 count. I think it's called Rustico. Like, it's a beautiful color and all the rest of it, but the white just doesn't show up on that. And I just used a DMC white. It looks okay like in the center of the quilt, but there's a little border here that you can't really see. So I'm going to rethink this little border for the next ones, because I'm going to continue using the Rustico. I bought it for this project, so I'm just I just have to work it a little bit different, that's all. So that's what I'm going to do with that. So I have managed to get for January, I'm not going to get any more finishes for January, and I've managed to get 5 finishes done. And so I'm going to spend a weekend of fully finish them. I'm just waiting for some supplies to come for a couple. So I'm thinking that the next long weekend that we have, which is in March, I think, around Easter time, I'll have to check that. I'm going to do a fully finished weekend, so then you'll get to see them all fully finished. As I said, I'm still waiting on some supplies. Okay, so moving on to whips. Last week was a great week for my focus piece. I was able to get 600 stitches into it last week, which is a really good go at it. So I got another motif finished, and the reason that I got 600 stitches into it, because it actually fit quite a few of the prompts that we had for homework. So as some of you know, I joined School of Magical Stitches and Literature this year, and so I've just been doing the homework and help building the Disney park and all that sort of stuff, and it's really helped with my focus and actually getting stuff done. So without the building of Cinderella's castle, I wouldn't have got all those finishes done. Without some of the prompts, I wouldn't have got all those finishes done either. And I wouldn't have got a lot of the stitches in, and it's just really given me a focus. Now, of course, you don't have to do the homework if you don't want to, and all that sort of stuff. It's totally optional, and a lot of people, especially new ones, get a little bit overwhelmed. I did it first, but I found it really helpful to go and watch Virtual Stitches. They're here on YouTube, and they do a homework talk every week. So if you are in School of Magical Stitches and you've been a little bit overwhelmed by the homework, I really go and watch that, because that helped the penny drop for me. I'll put a link down to their YouTube channel down below, so you can go over and have a look. And all it is it's like a brainstorming session, for lack of a better way to describe it. And they talk about what they're going to work on, and they don't just cover School of Magical Stitches, they also cover some other groups that they're in as well, just to give you an idea of how they relate the prompts to their charts. So last week, the first prompt that we had to do was stitch something from the following rhyme, and we would get 3 points for that. And it's, this is weird, like a man with a beard, green skin and pig's eyes, frog's legs and fireflies, a dark cave with loud cries, a girl with tears in her eyes. So basically, the way I interpreted it was anything that had like legs in it or eyes in it, something that was green, or a girl, or something with tears, or anything like that. So I chose my Halloween Quaker, and basically because it had a girl, a witch in it, and it's girl, and it had legs, and pretty much it had eyes. It pretty much covered everything. So I picked that. And then the second part of it, and the reason I've got into the second prompt, is because I also used it for that as well. So we had some letters to choose from, and the stock picture is still here for you to see where I've picked this out. So we had part 2, and we had A, B, and C to that. So the A was F, M, and E, so we had to stitch on something that had something with those letters in it. B was Y, R, and S, and C was T, P, N. So basically, these all prompts are relating to the book that we're reading, which is Kingdom Keepers, Disney After Dark. And so for A, I picked the moon. For B, I picked spiders. And for C, I picked pumpkin. So you can see in that picture there, I've got the witch in there, there's a moon in there, there's the spiders in there, and there's also jack-o'-lanterns. And I managed to get, and a change of colour in this one as well. So this is what I got done. I'll just hold it this way, which will be easier. So I'm working down, so it actually sits this way, and I'm working down the chart. So I'm still on page 1, and I got all of this motif done and this little purple one. So I actually got a color change this week as well. So I was pretty excited about that because I've just been working with the dark colors. I am using the called for colors in this one. A lot of them are classic color works, and I think there's some gentle arts, I think they call it. But I'm so excited. Like that, this month has come so far. Like I started this, when did I start this? I think I got this in November or maybe the end of October, and I started it. I got this little motif done, and then I got some of this done, and then, you know, it got busy and didn't get a lot of stitching done at the end of last year. But with the prompts and making this my focus piece this year, I've got all of this motif done, bar one leaf, and then all of this one here. And again, I will be hopefully I am matching this one to the prompt that we've got this week, so you'll see some more stitches in that one next week as well. So as I said, this one is my focus piece, and I really do want to get this finished, not fully finished, but finished by October 31st. So this one actually gets matched to a lot of the prompts. It's got a lot of different things in it, so I'm pretty excited about that. So that one was done. The other prompt that we had was to stitch on something boring. So I actually chose this as my something boring because I had done all the outlining and it was just filling in, and I was just stitching white, and I had to do 400 stitches on that. So with all the white in there, and I think I'd done the black and these blocks here, I was just filling in after I'd done the white, and it was very boring. But I got it done, and that's a finish, and that's all that matters. So that helped there. All right, so the next thing that I had to finish, because we're coming up to the end of the month, so extra credit, all our stitching for extra credit has to be in, and we had 4 different prompts for that. So the ones that I'd already done a couple, and you can go back and see all my the first 2 January ones, I have my extra credits in there. And so the last 2 that I had to do was stitch something related to the Small World. It's a Small World ride at Disney World or wherever it is, because I don't know, I've never been there. And the other one was stitch something related to a hurricane. Now I have been eyeing off this dimensions kit for ages and ages, but I didn't want to commit to it because it was quite a large kit and it was a full coverage. And then I ended up finding a smaller, similar one, and I'll just put the picture up here so you can see it. It's called Storm. It's by Anne Logan, and I found her site, and you pay a membership for $2.50 a month or something, and she's got all these cross-stitching stuff on there. Like I just joined for a couple of months because I was searching through it, but I got I downloaded this one from her site, so it cost me $2.50, which was great, and it's just a PDF one. But as you can see from the picture, it's a very dark nighttime scene with lightning and all the rest of it, and this just screamed hurricane to me. So I made a start on that, and I had to get 300 stitches in it. I've actually done 365 stitches because I just wanted to finish the floss off, but I've started up in the top corner, and as a precaution to make sure that I've got started right, I've actually marked it with a friction pen because it's a full coverage, so I'm going to stitch over it, so I don't really care. And just where I've got some other areas that I needed to make sure that I counted right and stuff like that, because I only have enough of this Ada fabric, which is just a white 14 count, because that's what she recommended. And I started stitching it, and I'm using the CXC colors for this one, and I just really do like the coverage on the 14 count. So, you know, like while it doesn't look a lot, it's still a good significant amount. And I'm going to be this will tie in probably for other prompts throughout the year, so this one will get some good love too. And the other one that I had to do for extra credit, which I think you've actually seen this, where I've done a couple of stitches in it, is the I'll put the picture up here for you, is the mandala elephant that I got in the cross stitch calendar. So it came with 12 charts and all that sort of stuff, so I picked this one and I managed to get all of that done. So that's got over 300 stitches in it now. I just put in the last 70, which was down here, so I'm now starting to go down the trunk, which is really good, and I can't wait to get these ones done. I'm really excited. I went and had a look at their website, which I'll link up down below. They've got an Etsy store as well as a website. Personally, I'd probably purchase from the Etsy store because I trust that platform. I'm a little bit dubious about going to websites unless they're really, really well known. I've never heard of them before, but they have a ton, and I mean a ton. Tia from Creations and I were in Zoom one night by ourselves. It was late at night and there wasn't anybody else there, and we were in there for about 10-15 minutes by ourselves, and we were having a look on the Etsy store, and oh my god, they have a ton of them. So, and they're really reasonably priced too, and they also have some kits. I haven't purchased anything directly from them, but I've read all the reviews. The reviews seem to be really good. But I got the calendar, so, and I'll put a picture of here, the calendar, and I'll link it up down below, and it comes with 12 patterns in it, and they're really good patterns too. So there's a couple in there that I definitely am going to be stitching, whether it's this year or next year, who knows. Alrighty, so that was my extra credits, and they're done. I've finished all of them now. I've just got a couple more pages to read of the book, and then that'll be done as well, and then I'm done with January's homework, which is really good. The next one that rolled around was the weekend, so that was all at the end of last week, and then we had the 24 hours of cross stitch marathon. Now I didn't get to 24 hours, I got to 17 hours. My family had other ideas for me and I was hoping to get onto Virtual Stitches and stitch with them for some of the 24 hours, but unfortunately I had Speedway going on, so I was pretty sure that the ladies didn't want to hear Speedway happening in the background, because it gets quite loud, because I'm only a couple of streets away from it, and all you could hear was the cars going vroom, vroom, vroom around, and then also the guy on the loudspeaker. So it's great for me. I don't actually have to go. I can listen to it and I know who wins and everything, but it's not so great if you're doing any virtual sort of stitching or anything. So I spent the weekend just hanging out in the craft room. On Saturday morning I wanted to get up and just get stuck into my stitching, but you know, life got in the way. Had to go and do shopping, had to go and get stuff ready, the last little bits and pieces for school and all that sort of stuff, and then I thought, oh bugger, I'll do the housework. So we done a massive clean and all the rest of it, so I didn't actually get to sit down to do any stitching until later that afternoon. So over the weekend I worked on my Autumn Queen, and you can see the picture here. It is a Heaven and Earth design, or HAID as it's commonly called in the cross stitch community. And I said, after all that was happening on Saturday morning and I knew that Speedway was going to be on, I just set myself a goal of filling in a good section. So here's a picture of what it looked like prior to starting. So I actually filled it all in and got a fair chunk done. I ended up putting in total 1,318 stitches in, and I have managed to get some color, so I don't know if that's going to pick up on the camera. So you can see where I started, and this is where I finished. So now I have close to 2,500 stitches in this little section. I have so much more to go, obviously, but this is my very first HAID, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm working, someone asked me what fabric I was using. I'm actually using what they recommended, which is the 25 count easy grid, and I'm not sure if you can see those grids on there. The light might not be picking them up, but yeah, there's a gridded thing there. It makes it easy for counting, and I figured that was just probably the easiest way to go, because that's what the website recommends. And I'm doing a 2/1. So a lot of people don't like the 2/1. A lot of people do one strand of floss over one. I'm actually liking the 2/1. It is dense, I must admit it is dense, but I'm not having any issue with it. It looks neat to me. I just didn't like the coverage of the other one. If it was a higher count fabric, probably would have only just done the 1/1, and I'm looking to do another Haid on a higher count fabric and to experience that one. And also some people do 10 stitch, which is just half of the cross. So they don't do a full cross, they just do a half. I'm actually doing a full cross. I'm not having any issues. I got this one kitted out by Heaven and Earth. This was the one that I was talking about at the end of last year that I was waiting for, and I was very disappointed that it hadn't shown, and I didn't think it was going to show up before New Year, and it did. It showed up 2 days before New Year. So in that break between Christmas and New Year, there was a couple of days of post delivery and it came. But I've got all these stitches in. I'm really, really happy with the progress, and you can start to see some color there as well. So and I posted up my progress and whatnot, and there was another girl in the group that I posted it in that she's stitching it. She's got about 5,000 stitches in it, and it's starting to look really good on hers as well. So a lot of people do parking and diagonal stitching and all that sort of stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm actually just doing like this particular one. There's a lot of block of colors, so I'm just doing that color. So color blocking or color completing, whatever you want to call it. So basically the neck, I've got to finish the page, I've got to come down another 2 grids and then 2.5 across. So all that there will be a page complete. And basically these top ones here are pretty much all black going across, and down this one down the side is pretty much all black, and this will just have a little bit of color like browns and blacks and a mixture of stuff. So you can see there that it's coming together. So yeah, I'm super excited that that has come a long way, and she's so beautiful. I'm so excited. And so she's another sort of focus piece that I'm doing. So just for those that are new here and don't know how I'm going to fit this in, because I'm actually doing 2 Haids. This is actually my focus Haid, so I'm actually using it for some of the prompts. Read it and stitch it. I think it is it's one of the stitching challenges in School of Magical Stitches. I think it's the Ultimate Stitching Challenge. So I'm just using that for that. So every 500 stitches that I'm putting in, I'm posting a picture, and that's helping to build the different things throughout the park. And also long weekends that we have here. So we have a lot of long weekends up until the middle of the year here in Australia. So I'll be using my long weekends to stitch on her, and also the 24 hours of cross stitch marathons. I'll be using that to stitch on her, and also I will be using Mania I'll be doing a solo stitch. So basically she'll be getting a really lot of love every day basically in May for Mania. So I'll be spending a good 2 hours on her every day in May. So I'm hoping to get a couple of pages completed this year. It's got over 400,000 stitches in it. So, and it's a max colors, so it's got 237 colors in it. So I'm pretty excited about it. Like, yeah, it's my first Haid, so yeah. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm excited about it. All right, so that's what I did for the weekend, and then we had Monday and Tuesday of this week. I didn't have any homework left. I didn't have any extra credit left because I finished all that. I worked on my Haid, and there's this cute chart that I found in a magazine, and I'll put a picture up here of it. It's called Time to Time, and it's all the different clocks. Like, I don't know why, but I just looked at it and I just had to do it. So a couple of weeks ago I got some fabric which is 32 count, which is what it recommends, and I got it in a sort of aqua color, and this was a new start this week. So I got the first clock in. I just put a few stitches in it. I'll be coming back to this tomorrow, and yeah, so this is the first clock. I've done the outside, and now I've just got to fill it in. It's got a little bit of back stitching in it, but it's super cute. I just love all the different clocks in it, and like some of them I've seen through like my lifetime, like my grandparents' house and stuff like that. So I just thought it was cute. It has no significance to me whatsoever, but I just thought it was super cute and just wanted to stitch it. So I'm going to put that up in my kitchen because I think it's very kitcheny sort of type. I think I got 222 stitches in that one I did. I'll just have a look on here. What did I do? 221 I got. So that's not too bad. And yeah, so you'll see that popping up from time to time. Excuse the pun. You'll see that popping up, and hopefully I'll get that finished. It seems like a pretty quick stitch. Like I only spent, I think, about an hour and a half on that, maybe 2 hours at the outmost, and I was watching TV while I was doing it, so I wasn't really focusing on it. And they just got little clocks all over the place, as you can see from the picture. All right, the next one that I worked on was Hello Pumpkin by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Now, as you know, I've got the Halloween Quaker as a focus piece, and also in January I had the Quilter's Cottage by Laurie Holt as a focus piece, and I'll be doing that again. So the Halloween Quaker is my priority one, and then I've got the Quilter's Cottage, which is almost finished. I just had to do a little bit more adjusting on that. And for the month of February, the Hello Pumpkin by Caterpillar Cross Stitch is also going to be my focus. So last night I got, how many stitches did I put in that? 250 stitches in that last night while I was watching TV, just a couple of hours. So last time you seen it, I had done this bit up here, and then I started working on the tree last night. I've still got a lot to do on the tree, but yeah, I started working on the tree last night, and this now will actually become my focus piece for February. Because Mia keeps asking about it, because this is Mia's piece. She picked it out for me to start at the end of last year, and I made a good start on it. She wasn't feeling the best, and I sat with her all day, and I just sort of stitched, and I made a good start, and I've put a couple of extra stitches in here and there, but she's been asking about it, where her stitching is. So if she's asking, she knows that I've started it and she's wanting it done. So I thought, well, I'll make it a focus piece. So once I've done, and how I work my focus pieces is, once I've done all my stuff for magical stitches, which I usually work on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Fridays, and I get that all out of the way, and then I've got the weekend to do my sort of own rotation. So then I use 24 hours of cross stitch. I use their acrostic and their holiday prompts. So, because I bought their calendar, and I use that for their prompts. So I'll basically try to tie in my other focus pieces into that as much as I can. So if there's an A, I can tie it in for acorn. If there's an O, I can use the owl because it's in the chart. L, I can use for leaf. And there's a lot of stuff that I can tie that to. So that's what I try to tie it to. And then I get their calendar, their planner, calendar, which is blank, and then I go through and I write all the different places where I'm going to be stitching on this. So that's how I'm using that section of the planner for my focus pieces. So I try to tie that in as much as I can. Sometimes I might get a new start in there. Obviously that gets adjusted when the homework comes out. So if we've only got to stitch 100 stitches, for instance, for a prompt, like we did last week, we had one prompt, which was we had to pick a letter from 3 different groups of letters, and we had to stitch 100 stitches. So if I had 3 different projects, which I didn't, I only had one, so I just worked on it for one day. If I had 3 different projects, I would have stitched those 100 stitches and then worked on a focus piece, if that makes any sense at all. So that's how I'm working my focus pieces at the moment. And there's also, you've got monthly focus tracker in the planner from Jen Lee. So I'll leave a link down below to her Etsy store where you can get it. And so in February, as I said, my new focus piece, my Halloween Quaker is my priority, so that's the top one. And then my new focus piece is now going to be this one here. So I'm pretty excited. Like you can see from the picture that it's got a lot of different little pieces and stuff in it. So if I can get a couple of little things done each, every couple of days, or even, 300 or 400 stitches in a week into it, it's going to be finished in no time, and she'll be super excited. I'll be hopefully finish it by Easter, and then I can give it to her as an Easter present. So Yeah, she wants it as a wall hanging. She's very particular. She told me, I said I was going to turn it into a cushion for her bed, and she goes, no, I want it as a wall hanging. I went, okay. The girl that knows what she wants it for, she already knows what she wants. So yeah, so that is everything that I worked on this week. I don't have any fully finished stuff yet. As I said, all the stuff that I finished in January, the next long weekend, I'm going to work on my hate, but I'm also going to pull out a day of the 3-day weekend and do a whole heap of finishes. So I'll get as many as I can get done. A lot of them are just small ones that I'm turning into little cushions for my little dough bowl that I'm getting. So yeah, that should be here soon. So you'll be able to see that as well. But what else did I get? That's everything I've worked on. That's my plans, which are my focus piece. And I also got some haul, and this particular thing that I got, and I'm sorry they're still in packets because they only turned up yesterday. I ended up getting these, and I'll put a link down below where I got them from. I ended up getting them from AliExpress. I think I only paid like $4 for them, so they're cheap. And I'm using these for my Hawk Run Hollow, which is also another piece that I want to do as well. Get a lot of done this year. So I thought I'll get these for the Hawk Run Hollow, and I got a couple of them. As I said, they were only a couple of bucks. I think they were $4 from memory, but they came with the little cards. So they come with the little cards, and they've got the foam where you can stick the needles in, and then the little hook where you can hook your floss on and stuff like that. So I thought that they would be a good option to use for the Hawk Run, because there's 53 or 54 flosses in that, so I can just set up a little kit. That's because that's a lot of flosses to take out of my my kit. So I got 2 of those, so I was pretty happy about that. And that is all that's really come in. There's a few other things that came in for our up-and-coming retreat, so I can't show you those because they're a surprise. But that's about it from me this week. Not a lot has gone on in the way of plans, except that I've just got a new focus piece, and I'm hoping to have my quilter's cottage finished by the end of February. So I've still got 1 quilt to go and a little bit of fill-in on another, so it's almost done. So hopefully I can put that to a few prompts and all the rest of it. But that is it from me this week. I thank you so much for joining me, and if you're new and you've lasted this long, thank you so much for sticking around. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, so that way you won't miss out on any future posts. Next week will be a big week for the channel because I'm back at work, so we will end up having our Finish It Friday, we'll have our cross stitch, we'll have our tutorial, and we've got a few other things and announcements that we'll have on our Finish It Friday, so by all means come back and join us for that. That's a little bit of a Quilty Talk YouTube wrap up and everything that we've got coming up for the channel and also work-wise. So that is it for me, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Leave us a comment down below if you're new here. Say hi, introduce yourself, because I do like to get to know my subscribers, and have a little bit of a conversation with you. Got any questions, leave them down below, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye for now.